Good morning, friends. Had to come in and get my coffee. Obviously, it's morning. Right now, that's about the most feasible time for me to be out here working and getting stuff done. So it's basically what I'm doing. It's just coming out in the mornings and trying to get as much done as I possibly can. And today we have a problem that we have to deal with. But first, I need to go move the soaker hose from down at the far tomato bed to this bed with the crazy wild tomatillos. So let me do that real quick, and then we will come back and we will talk about the garden issue that I got going on here, okay? All right. So in the 3 long beds that we have here, we have soaker hoses. Don't you do it. I see your intent. She's already eaten a bean off. Go on. Go on. Go get up at your porch. Up at your house. Go on. Go on. She eats out of the garden pretty regularly. Go on. Little thief. And the other one is just, I can't keep up with her. She might end up having to go on a lead this morning. She usually stays pretty close to my feet when I'm out here, actually. Hi. Are you coming over to see what I'm doing? So I don't normally have to worry about it. She's blind as a bat anymore. She old. Huh. Alright. So. I'm sure there's a video where I was planting this up this spring. Or at least a section of one of my videos where we were planting over here. But let me turn you around. This is not normal. Although, since I got in here with a bag of worm castings the other day, I took it and this claw and worked it in. But do you see how this soil looks? It almost looks like it's cracking and crumbling. So, the best I can figure from what I have played around in here with, that's a little bit better. But see how dusty that is? It's almost like it's trying to be hydrophobic. And I cannot, for the life of me, find any of the earthworms that I put in here. So the top ½ inch is a little bit better than it was before the worm castings. So that tells me that I can amend this. However, we obviously have soil contamination issues in this section of the bed. So, let me set you down here. So here's the thing. I've got 2 choices in this situation. I can let it ride and just plan on planting everything new next year. Not ideal. Or I can attempt to amend the bed. I have our little soil experiment going on. But that's only, oh gosh, like a week out at this point. So I don't know 100% for sure if those soils are clear of any contamination, and that's why we put beans in there, because beans will shoot up very quickly, and then if the soil is contaminated, they will die just as quickly. So they're a very easy tell. If you haven't seen that video, I'll try and link it at the end credits for you guys, but or here above, wherever I can fit it in. So I have compost, bags of compost here. If I do nothing, these plants in here that are stunted are going to die. Just knowing historically from the past and having dealt with this issue, they'll just die. They will just stunt. They will stay this size, which they have been this size basically since we got them. They have not gotten any bigger in 2 months. So if I do nothing, they're gonna die. If those soils are contaminated and I put those soil in here or the compost in here, they'll die. But if I do absolutely nothing, they're gonna die anyway, right? So I have nothing left to lose. Unfortunately, at this point, I literally have nothing left to lose. So, because they're just gonna die anyway. I'm going to take a chance and attempt to amend this older section of the bed. Excuse me, newer section. I've not had enough of this coffee. Over here along this side is the older section. The older section is okay. It's not great, but things are growing. The lavender is still happy, etc., etc., etc. But this new section is where things are leaving the struggle bus. The only exception would be the tarragon. The tarragon seems to not care about contaminated soil, so that's good to know. So if you're looking for a plant that can bear up under really bad circumstances, get you some tarragon. So what we're gonna do is I brought out my nice little Japanese hoe here, and I'm going to turn this whole bed, and I'm gonna try and give you guys some good angles and some good shots so that you can see the soil. So you'll be looking at the soil more than me during the hyperlapse, but I want you to see what it looks like and what I am physically doing, so that if you're dealing with this issue as well, hopefully this helps you. Hopefully you can do this and it'll assist. I am going to add another bag of worm castings in here, primarily around the plants that are in here, because from what I felt with the claw the other day, their root systems are not as big as they should be at this point. So I will work in that bag of worm castings after I get the compost turned in. And I'm gonna go deep. I don't normally do this. I'm normally a layer by layer and let the bio layers take care of them own selves, but in this instance there is nothing in the below bio layer except what feels like hard pan. So let me go on ahead, get a few more slugs of this coffee in, and get you set up so that you can see what we're doing, okay? I'm gonna put you on hyperlapse now. We'll talk in a minute. Okay, so we've gotten one section of the herb bed done. Mosquitoes, that time of the year. So I needed a slight break to catch my breath. And to be honest, who needs a gym? You think you need a gym, just start a garden. You won't ever need a gym again. But we're gonna go on ahead and we're gonna try and move into the second section here and see about getting this stirred in. I hope the video caught it okay, because I couldn't see from the angle, but I was actually pulling out clumps of soil, and I'll put notations in there too when I'm doing that in case it's not easily visible. But the big hard chunks that I was pulling up that were not just breaking down basically, I went on ahead and threw those out. I'm not even going to bother with them. All right, so let me get you into position, and we'll get to working on this section of the herb bed next, okay? Okay, I'm sorry. I am interjecting into my video here once again because I was about to stir this in, but I realized I needed to stop and show you guys so that you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so let me get in here. So, do you see all of this in here? Let me see if I can get it closer. Okay. Do you see that white in there? That is some natural bio breakdown. And this is what should be occurring under the soil. This, see how I can touch it and it's just falling apart here? Okay, so this is a good sign, okay? So this section over here has obviously not been impacted as much as the section that we just completed, which doesn't surprise me because we are getting closer to the older section, and the soil that I used over here was a different batch than what I used to fill the back end. So I am going to go on ahead and continue to stir in this compost back here, but that's a very good sign, like a very, very good sign. So I'll continue stirring everything in, and that is just going to be in case of any leaching from this side going this way, because when you water and it's all in the same bed, it is possible for this end to contaminate this end. Obviously it hasn't heavily impacted down here, which explains why this tarragon is so huge. The same with the borage that I have here, which you really should get a borage plant. Very high in nutrients. I know that you have to work to kind of break it down because the leaves are hairy and you can't eat it raw or anything, but very, very high in nutrients. You should get one for your garden. The bees absolutely love it. Flowers are stunning. Side note. So we're going to continue to move down because I do have some issues with the sage that is just on the opposite side of this tarragon. So obviously we've got a little bit of issue down here, but I'm very hopeful that I can just stir in this good stuff, maybe add some worm castings, and everything this side will just continue to explode a bit more than it already has. All right, so I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to put you back on hyperlapse here. Mosquitoes. Okay. So that was section 3 done. This was not the vlog that I had intended on making today, guys. I'm gonna just level with you. And it's really hard to think when you're putting in these compost and manure bags that they are possibly contaminated, and you hate to automatically assume that. But at this point, I have never in all my gardening years had issues growing oregano or basil or thyme. Like, those are just staples that we've always had. So when you are having a struggle bus thing, you do have to look at surrounding issues. Now, this last section was definitely a lot nicer, a lot better looking. Hasn't been impacted nearly as much as the other 2 sections, but I saw no evidence of worms, like no earthworm activity at all. And that is concerning to me, because when I'm in there turning, I should be turning up living organisms and biostructures and critters. And even in this older section, there were none. So I hate to assume that those bags of compost and manure are likely contaminated as well. But at this point, making that assumption is safer than not. But as I had mentioned, I have almost nothing left to lose. And I know some people who have some of my lavender plants, so once they have babies from that lavender, I can easily get another plant from them. I'm sure they would be kind enough should anything happen to the lavender. I don't know that anything will happen to the lavender, but you never know with soil contamination. It's possible. It's possible the whole bed could get wiped out, which would be very, very sad. But I'm losing things anyway, so to me it was worth the risk. And worst case scenario, come fall, we rip everything out and I start correcting it with worm castings, vermicompost, and some mushroom organisms. And then go from there. It's about all I can do at this point. So, like I said, this was not the vlog I wanted to put together. Something like this is never what you want to put together, but it'll be okay. And the thing of it is, those that are doing this to our soils and to our land, they really don't comprehend the love that we have for the land that we've been given. It's a stewardship thing. It's not an ownership thing. It's not about for us. So For those of you out there, if you've made it through this long of the video, I just want to take a moment to encourage you to keep loving your land, keep cultivating it, keep doing the best that you can in the season that you're in. Don't let anybody shame you, and keep gardening. Don't give up. This is the point where we really have to focus on being tenacious. If we let up, if we give in, they win. Okay? And maybe down the line, they will win anyway. Maybe. I don't know. But even if they do, I want to know that I fought to the bitter end as best as I was able to. And I want to go out trying and not giving in. I just don't give in. I won't give in. Don't you give in. Okay? We do this because we love it. Okay? So keep that in mind. Keep your reason for doing that and doing what you're doing in mind. I'm going to go on ahead and close off here. There's a good likelihood that YouTube is going to yank this video. So if you want to ever recap it, you are going to have to go to Rumble and subscribe on my Rumble channel, or you're going to have to keep up with our website, because I am beginning to upload all of our video content to the website as best I can. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. Guys, as always, keep it simple, natural, and essential. I'll see you on the next video, okay? Bye.